I am going to introduce the next panel. The next panel is being moderated by Hui Zhang. And the panel is about China and the rest of the world. What do brokers, investors, and agents really care about? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the panel. I'm Hui from Mona Shah and Associates, and I'm honored to be able to moderate this panel. Today, we have the distinguished panelists to discuss the EB5 markets in China and the rest of the world. So today, my colleague Shah will interpret for Chairman He and Julia. First of all, before we start our panel discussion, each of our panelists is going to tell us a little bit about what they do, and we will start with Chairman He. 何会长，那您现在要不要给大家做一个简单的一点的自我介绍？
谢谢各位嘉宾，我是来自中国广东省移民协会的会长，我叫何博仪，我也是广东华人出国事务有限公司的董事长。
Hello everyone, thank you for inviting me. I'm Guangdong Entry and Exit Immigration Associates Chairman, Mr. Bo Yi-he, and I'm also Guangdong
华人 Immigration
Service Company's President. Thank you.
Julia.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Julia. Yeah, I come from Beijing. Yeah, I can say some simple English. Yeah, so I come from Beijing. We also have immigration companies in Henan province in Zhengzhou. So welcome you come to China to cooperate about the project with us.
Jack.
Okay.
Hello everyone, good morning, and it's my honor to be invited to join the conference this morning. And actually, I graduated from Europe. I mean, Rotterdam, Netherlands, and since 2010, I came back to China, joined the education business like overseas studies. So, have been 6 years right now, and I find out what Chinese parents and students want, why they all like to come over to USA and join the education and also immigration. So I'm focusing on the management of the parents' capital and also investment in USA. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Brian Oster from EB5 Capital. We are an independent regional center based in Washington, D.C. I've been doing EB5 since 2009, so quite a long time. We do projects in D.C. and California mostly. We're about to launch our 20th project overall. And I'm very happy to be here and hope to meet many of you soon.
Hi, I'm Jinhee Wild. I'm a principal and managing partner of Wild and Associates based out of Rockville, Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. I have been a immigration lawyer for 16 years now and been doing EB5 work since 2007.
Hello, everybody. I am Jacqueline LeBeau. It's nice to be here today with everybody. I actually run the American Immigration Regional Center here in New York. We are marketing projects throughout the country, Florida, New York, our main markets. I've been in the real estate development business now for just about 30 years. I know I don't look that old, but and look forward to meeting everyone.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. In panel one, we discussed.
There's one more.
Oh, sorry.
Please continue. No, I'm Kamiar Mary Devani. I'm with EB5 Investors Magazine. We are a trade publication for the EB5 industry, which includes a migration agent-focused publication that we put out throughout China. I'm very happy to be here, and I wanted to thank Baruch College for organizing this event.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction. As we discussed in panel 1, there may be possible legislative changes. However, as we can see now, China is still hot in, EB5 is still hot in China and the rest of the world. So Chairman He, I noticed that your office is located in the south of China. So can you briefly tell us a little bit about the 3 reasons why people want to immigrate to the United States? 就何会长，就是咱们知道哈，就是说虽然 EB5它有很多的立法变化，但是的话呢，EB5在中国和世界其他地方呢，还是现在是一个处于很受欢迎的状态。那你能不能给我们简单介绍一下，就是说哪3个原因是为什么大家想移民美国呢？有哪3个原因呢？主要的原因？
中国有4000多所移民公司做美国的投资移民项目。
There are more than 4,000 immigration agencies in China to do the EB5 immigration.
广东是全国第一个放开移民中介许可证的省，第一个，而且是唯一一个。
And Guangdong is the first and the only one province in China who opened the policy to immigration
Immigration agent license policy.
Yeah.
广东有712家移民公司，
Guangdong has
有712家移民公司。
Guangdong has 712 immigration agencies.
那么，全国的做的比较大的移民公司在广东都会有分公司。
So all over China, the immigration agency who did a good job will be located in Guangdong as a sub-agency or sub-company.
那中国公民想移民来美国的5大原因是。
So Chinese people who want to immigrate to the U.S., there are 5 most important reasons.
第一，主要想让小孩来美国接受那个先进的教育制度与质量。
First of all, they want their children to come to the U.S. and get the excellent education here in the U.S.
因为投资有了美国的绿卡，小孩可以高中以下免费读书，大学可以像当地人这样公平的收费跟竞争。
So when the children get their U.S. visas, they will have free tuition here for high school, and for the college, they will have equal competition as the U.S. local students here.
第二个原因，中国很多企业经过30多年的开放改革，他们已经积累了一定的资金。
So for Chinese companies, after 30 years open door and improvement, they have enough money.
现在他们也想冲出中国，来到美国进行投资，或者说开办公司。
So they want to step out to from China to the U.S. and open their companies in the U.S.
那么他有美国的身份，就可以在美国里面投资或者开公司，能够得到一个公平的竞争。
So once they get their U.S. citizenship, they can invest their funds, or they can open their companies here and have equal competition.
Okay, thank you, Chairman He. So, Julia and Jack, do you have any additional reasons? Because I know your headquarters are located in the north of China. So, will the reason be different between north and south?
OK， 我是来自于北京，所以就是说北京 的雾霾，所以就是大家在中国人会觉得这个空气的质量和生活的环境也是一个非常重要的移民的因素。
So I'm from Beijing, and the air quality and living conditions in Beijing is not that good. So that's why people want to immigrate to the U.S.
按的第二个原因也是有一些，我们身边有很多投资人，他们的孩子都是在美国来上学，大学毕业以后没有绿卡找不到工作，所以很多家长也是为了帮他们的孩子在美国就业去办移民，这是第二个，也是我身边的一些我补充的理由。
So the second reason will be that after the children graduated from their universities, for Chinese citizens, it's hard for them to get a job in the U.S. But once they get their U.S. Citizenship, it will be easier for them to find a job.
还有第三个原因就是大家都知道，在中国其实政策不是那么的稳定，所以呢，大家都所以有一些投资人他是觉得美国是全世界最能保护个人私有财产的一个这样国家，所以有很多人是为了一个资产的一个安全和全球的一个资产配置，从这个角度移民的。
Okay, so the third reason will be that in China, the policy will be not that stable, but some of the investors think that in the U.S., the government will protect their private property. So they think that they will have more safety in the U.S. to have their private property.
Oh, thank you, Julia, for sharing the reasons. So, Jack, do you have additional reasons?
Yes, I want to share what I got about education and why the Chinese parents want to their kids come over here. There are 260,000 students from China every year, so to USA only. So there's big amounts of students to China, to other countries. So there are also big increase about the high school students come over, and also the age of the student come to USA is going to younger and younger. So what's the problem? Okay, do you know Chinese student very good at SAT? So Chinese student parents focus on the top 50 university, like UCLA is not first priority, like Yale, like Columbia, like Harvard, like UPenn. So always that Ivy League is Chinese parents and also Chinese students' main goal for the education. So this is the first priority why EB5 is so popular in China. The second thing I think is about assets. Just like Julie and Mr. He said about Chinese investor really want to have more thing to do after green card. Not only green card, but the $500,000 is not money to Chinese. Even, especially in Beijing, just one property, like one apartment, they can loan the money from bank like 5 million RMB. That's not big money to Chinese people to come over here. But there are lots of parents and lots of investors really think about the assets and going to be, big value future in USA. So they're going to find very good project later. Not the EB5 project, the project they want to invest money on and get interest every year. So that's the most two regions I think the Chinese people want to come over here.
Thank you, Jack. So due to the reason you mentioned above, EB5 is very popular in China and the rest of the world. However, the market is very competitive right now. As I know, nowadays, there are around 800 to 100 projects in the Chinese market right now. So EB5 investors now really have a difficult time on choosing the EB5 project. So Jinghee, as an EB5 attorney, what kind of factors do you think investors should look into when choosing an EB5 project?
Well, we have to really understand that EB5 is not just investment. So if your investor is looking for a high return, high yield, IRR focus, EB5 is not where you want to be. This is an immigration program, So your foremost has to be, is this project going to be creating the jobs that it's projected to produce, so that your green card, after the conditional green card, can become permanent one. So that has to be your number one criteria for the project developers. Again, this is not just easy money or foreign source of money, alternative financing, but you need to have the investors' immigration aspect really nailed down in order for you to be continuously successful. I'm sitting next to two regional center representatives here, but the regional centers that continuously, through multiple projects and sustaining that success, deals with how many investors were able to obtain not just conditional green card, but the removal of condition at 8 to 9 stage.
Thank you, thank you. So Camilla, I know lots of projects advertised on EB5 magazine. So is there any other factors that you think investors should look into?
Yeah, so I just want to give a little bit of context about the industry and the migration agencies that have participated in the EB5 investment program. They have been working with regional centers since the early 90s. So we've seen a full cycle in this program of development, and we're now reaching the point where the market is beginning to mature, and we're seeing things like fraud in the program, as you would see in other investment programs. So one kind of value that we're trying to promote as an industry publication, and which I believe a lot of migration agencies are becoming more sensitive to, is investor protection, and is working with other professionals in the industry to conduct more thorough due diligence in order to potentially detect fraudulent projects or bad actors in the industry. Whereas perhaps in the early days of this program, there was more based off relationships, and there's a few number of regional centers doing business on a lower scale because of the popularity of the program over the past 5 to 6 years. You see a lot more volume, obviously, through the program. They discuss the visa number, lack of availability because of how popular it is. You also see people trying to take advantage. And so as a result, the industry has come together. There are many great organizations that promote fund administration platforms, that promote compliance platforms. And these are intended to really help as this industry continues to mature and become a mainstay of immigration, as well as an investment product in the United States.
Thank you, Camilla. So there is another party that gonna choose project, that's regional center. Brian and Jacqueline, I know your regional centers are independent, means that your regional center are not affiliated with developers. So when your regional center are choosing project, what kind of factors will you look into?
It's very important, I think, when we talk about due diligence and we talk about underwriting projects for ourselves, the first and foremost important thing is the experience of the developer. And very often you see a lot of different entities involved that own the project, but you really, really must drill into who exactly are the operating partners, what is their level of experience, what have they done in this industry successfully, and have they completed any other EB5 projects? Projects of ours, some of which the developers have completed other EB5 projects, has become very important in our marketing process. But we go much further than looking at the experience of the developer. We also perform very, very detailed feasibility reports. I've seen projects where there's 5-page feasibility reports. They're not done by major national firms. In our case, we make sure that we use major national firms that really look at all the details of the project. They'll look at the financial pro formas. They'll drill into all the assumptions used in those financial pro formas. And as professionals, and being in this business myself for almost 30 years, I have to make sure that all of these assumptions are reasonable, they're valid, and get comfortable with underwriting the project. So I think it's so critical for all of us as professionals to look at all these details in a project, not just take on a project because it, it looks fabulous, it's in a great market, but looking at the demand drivers, looking at financial Excel models that they perform, and understanding the market demographics.
Thank you. Brian? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything Jacqueline said. I will say that you have to have a project that underwrites, of course, but you also have to have a project that will sell, right? So you kind of have to have both. You can have a project that underwrites great and you can get a return of your capital, but if your customer, which is your worldwide market, if it doesn't appeal to them, it's going to be a tough time raising capital. So we focus on the sponsor, like Jacqueline said. We're independent, so we have no relationship with the developer. We raise money and we manage the investment for the investors. We essentially protect the investors only. So we use that attribute. We use our track record to sell, right? Just as important, like Jacqueline said, that if the sponsor has a track record of developments, the regional center really needs to have a track record since they're the ones managing the money. And it's no longer 5 years, it's going to be managing the money for possibly 7 or 8 years. We try to keep our EB5 piece relatively small. We're not going to fund a project that's 100% EB5. We're going to try to keep it in the 20% or 30% range. We like to be in the second position, right? We like to have a senior lender, a bank usually, in the capital structure also. And then lastly, location, right? Especially Chinese investors. They love New York, they love San Francisco, they love LA, they love DC. So we have regional centers in all those markets. There could be a great project in Nebraska. Could be an amazing project. It might be a little hard to sell. It might take too long of a time to sell, and then the developer can't get the money when they need it.
Thank you. So, Julia, Jack, and Chairman He, do you have any other additional comments on the factors? 和回会长就是说，像他们讲到，就是说哪些像投资人，像你们中介筛选项目的话，有哪些因素需要考虑的？您能不能够做1-2点的简短介绍啊？
关于就是说，这个做 EP5 项目呢，我们首先呢考虑的就是说能否取得绿卡。如果申请人能够取得绿卡，那还好办。如果说连绿卡都不能够取得的话，那我们中介公司那第一这个就是要给投诉，而且是受害者。
So for EB5 investment, the investor will consider if they can get their green cards on time or not. If they can get their green card on time, it will be easier for the agencies to promote. If they cannot, then the agencies will be the people who gonna be harmed for this investment, and also for the investors.
第二个呢，就是希望能够在5到8年后能够取回投资款本金。
And second, they hope they can get their investment money back in 5 to 8 years.
而且希望这些项目每年都能够有点回报，有点利润。
And hope the project will give them some investment interest every year.
Okay, so Julia, do you have any additional ideas on the factors?
OK， 我们选项目一般会主要先看一下开发商的背景，还有就是区域中心的管理团队。可能区域中心有可能是您不一定是您租用的或者是合作的，所以那个 GP 是非常的重要。我们也会 第一个就当然就是和会长解释到那个拿到绿卡，首先是要看他的就业嘛，就业机会要远远超过，不要刚刚合适满足10个人的就业。OK， 你先讲。
So for me, I think the background of developers will be very important, and also for the regional center group, their group
The
set.
background, yeah.
Yeah, their group background. And like Mr. He said, the green card will be another very important thing, and also for the job opportunities that this project will offers. And this job opportunities will should be more than far more
So
than
there may
10.
be a like a high
Yeah.
cushion of the job creation number. Yeah.
It's be more safe. To
Right,
invest.
right. Okay. So Jack, do you have any other ideas?
Yes, I got different thoughts, and that just like Julia and Mr. He use the Chinese agency to choose the project, but I will use another thought to look at the project. First, I think I am the investor, like not for the green card, for the money. I will invest the 500,000 on the project. So how can I get my money back? And who is going to running the project is the most important. And also, if I invest money on this project, and how many years the project going to have the money back, and what's the profit after 5 or 6 years the project going to run, and so that's the first stage of I'm going to think about the project. Second, just same as Julie and Mr. He said, green card, because it's EB5, it's not only the investment project. Thank you.
我还想讲一个。
Oh, Julia, go ahead.
OK，就是说，因为我刚才讲到了，第一个是大家关注的绿卡，第二个就是关注到资金的返还，就 how to get your money back after they get a permanent cut，所以就是一定要看它这个抵押的，我是指讲贷款的项目
Collateral，
它的评估价值是否远远高于银行贷款，如果是在第2顺位的，一定会很关注到它抵押的这个资产
Okay.
是否足够保证还给投资人的钱。
So like what I said before, investors will focus more on the investment refund. And for the project, investors will see if the evaluation value will far more exceed as their market value, so they can get their money back on that time.
So Julia will look into the value of the collateral, right? Yeah, it must be much higher than the
most
actual.
project
Right.
is a loan.
Okay.
It's a debt project, EB5 in China. So they will care about how much the value. Yeah, it's more than the bank loan. So maybe they can get your money back.
Yeah, because EB5 loan is because bank loan is a senior loan, so first lien.
yeah.
So you're gonna look into the value of the entire
The debt,
collateral.
the debt project is easier to sell in China, but the equity is a little difficult in China because equity is more risk for Chinese investor. They just want to get a green card, invest the EB5 project. If they want to get more profit, maybe they will find another project to invest.
Okay.
Not only for get green
Okay.
card. Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. well, let me just say one thing then. So I agree that the debt idea, I wouldn't say the debt model. The debt idea is easier to sell. A lot of projects, ours including, we structure as preferred equity. And I'm just saying this if there are developers in the audience who are thinking about their own projects. So preferred equity in the EB5 context is essentially debt, right? We have a term, we have a 5-year term, we have a maturity date, we have a fixed coupon, right, a fixed interest rate, we have collateral. We're preferred over the sponsor. So technically it is equity, but it's structured like debt. So I want to clarify that. I guess the alternative, what Julia is saying, is mezzanine debt, right? So most projects are either mezz or as a preferred equity. And Jacqueline, you may want to speak.
With the mezzanine debt, we always prefer that because it gives the investors greater protection on the collateral. we feel, and that's why I prefer to keep it as debt. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about how to protect the investors further, and we're talking very generally about how we need to protect investors and agents, but how we specifically do that. When we look at underwriting a project, we really look at the equity that's being contributed to the project. Is the equity a cash contribution? Is the equity imputed equity from a value of the land? And if it is imputed from the value of the land, then we really look to the appraisals and make sure that the appraisals are not overappraised and they're realistic and they're valid appraisals, because that is critical in making sure that the investors do ultimately get their money back, not just their green card. We look at the entitlements to the property. We do not take on a project unless it's fully entitled. I know some people, will move forward with marketing in China without entitlements. It's even getting more difficult today because not only do the investors want to see entitlements, but they also want to see that construction has begun. So I think a lot of the developers have to get used to the fact that either they take on bridge financing to start the project, or they contribute their own equity and pay it back with the EB5 to get that project started, because I see a lot of projects just not getting funded because construction is not taking place.
Thank you. So we noticed that there are a lot of representatives from regional centers. So Brian and Jacqueline, for new regional centers, do you have any suggestions on how to market the project in China and the rest of the world?
For new regional centers?
Regional centers.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's very.
I mean, it's a little late in the game, I guess, to jump in. My advice, if you're a developer, I would work with a regional center, right? I would work with an independent regional center. When we go to China, and we have clients from 49 countries. So I know the focus of this panel has been on China, but we have all over. We have clients from all over. We sell us first, right? We sell our track record, 20 projects, and we've returned money on multiple projects so far. So we sell that first, and that gives agents and investors a lot of comfort. And then we actually get into the project. So that would be my advice. If you're going to do it on your own, if you're a developer and you want to start your own regional center and raise money yourselves, it's going to take a lot of travel, right? A lot of trips to China, a lot of dinners with Jack and Julia and Mr. He.
Yeah.
Not gifts, but dinners, right? And a lot of meetings and just a lot of visits. You have to kind of build up trust, build up a relationship. The people that we work with now, we've met, 2009, 2010, right? So it takes a long time.
Right, trust is everything in China. So Jacqueline, any additional thoughts on this?
I think, like everyone else is saying, it's very true that there's a lot of 15-hour trips back and forth, and making sure that you see people over and over again. Just a couple of meetings, you can't possibly develop the level of trust that they're looking for. And when you know that they're going to take you out for dinner or lunch, you know you're getting close.
Depends how nice the restaurant is.
Okay, so Jack, Julia, and Mr. He, do you have any additional thoughts? Because you are the agent side, so how can the new regional centers market in China right now?
我讲一下吧，就是新的区域中心现在去做中国的市场确实非常难，所以给的建议就是说，基本上因为我们作为代理，每天都要接见很多的项目方，就是不仅仅是美国的了，就是还有其他国家的。
As new regional center, it's very hard to promote in China, and from my previous experiences, there are more than U.S. Regional center who market their services in China, and we also have other regional centers from other countries.
Not the center. We have some other projects from Europe or some
yeah.
other countries to come to our agency to talk about the cooperation. So 就是对 for new reading center, it's difficult to meet with the agency's boss， 非常难跟就非
It's
常难
so
跟
it's
见面
difficult to find you. So everybody find Julia after the panel.
OK， 所以建议就是说，您最好找一个是在其他区域中心工作过的，他可能会相对有一些 relationship with 他们比较熟悉的人，至少
OK
你可以打开这个见面的这个。
Okay, so it's better to find somebody who work in other regional centers before, so they already know the contact of the agents.
对，至少就是你会有这样的一些机会，或者就是你要雇佣很专业的团队去做，大家就是筛选非常，确实是非常难，目前。
And at least you have this kind of opportunities to know us, and or you should hire more professional teams to help you market your marketing.
哦，我举一个例子，非常好，就是也是一个新的区域中心哈，一会儿你翻一下，他找了我不说哪个代理的名字了，OK， 他给了这个代理一场说明会的费用是3万美金，来现场是来了300个人，只是做了活动，做了说明会，并没有签单。
真正的拿
OK， 看
So, for example, we had a new regional center who came to China, and we have this conference held for 300 people, and they spent 30,000.
for one seminar，就是给了
Yeah,
这
and
个
then,
marketing
yeah,
费
then
Yeah,
yes.
Wei, I think it's very important also people know as a regional center, you can't just get on a plane and, go over there a couple
Right.
of times and meet people. We conduct seminars
Yeah,
constantly.
you should give
in
more
large hotel
supporting
yeah.
marketing 费用 to
We
the
also have a large
agency.
infrastructure in China where we have a group of 10 people that travel China daily. And we have to rely on them
Right.
as well to meet with all the agents.
Right.
对，
Yeah.
如果你是好的项目，你可能会通过这样的机会让你越来越 famous，可能会更多的代理会知道你，慢慢再去，
Yeah.
这是比较难。
Right, so as Julia said, that regional center spent around $30,000 for one seminar and didn't get any investors. So it's really difficult to get investor right now. So it's better just collaborate with a good regional center, like an old regional center, right?
One thing that
Okay,
I
Jenny,
would
go ahead.
actually like to add is that the processing times at the USCIS is a big factor. As a brand new regional center trying to get a designation, that takes months and months, if
Yeah.
not years. And then that's even before you even have a project. So after you have a project, you have to have the exemplar or that project getting approved. That takes another months and months and months. So for a brand new developer who's trying to raise funds, trying to establish your own regional center and then getting the funds becomes time-wise prohibitive. So with the almost 1,000 regional centers that are already out there, it is much better for you as a developer to find a good regional center, independent regional centers that can work with you. They have the infrastructure already for marketing. They already have the know-how to get the projects approved. It cuts down on the time and the resources greatly.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, go ahead, Julia. Yeah.
再举个例子，是一个新的区域中心，50 EB5 investors, new reading center. They take 1.5 a year finished.
Oh.
就到今天刚刚完成，是一个新的区域中心
50, right? Okay.
只是50个 EB5 投资人。
Oh,
Okay,
so
we do
as Julia said that another example is one new regional center. They only want to seek 50 investors, but it take around 1 year and a half to finish that project.
现在有了预审批，有了，就是924。
Oh, they have the approval of the I-924 exemplar petition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how they finished. They just cooperate with many small agencies, so they will give more supporting to the small agencies because they're not professional in EB5 field. So they need the regional center to do more supporting, just consulting for our clients, come to the agency's office to do, so have many trips have many
Hundreds of
travel
trips,
in,
yeah,
China
in China.
to the agency to do supporting the seminar and the consulting，就是需要他很多支持，帮助
Right.
中介去谈客户
Right.
才完成的。
Okay, so that means they have to go to China many times and have dinners many times, and before they build the trust between each other.
And also helps the agency to do consulting for the investors.
Oh yeah, yes, because it's brand new regional center, brand new project. So the agent, even they want to promote the project, it takes them time to talk with the investor and make the investor think the project is credible.
Yeah, if your project not in New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, maybe they have no time to meet with you.
Okay, so location is very important. That's true. So Jack, do you have any additional thoughts on this issue?
Yes, about marketing, and I think for the regional center it's a very hard time right now, but I think the door is still open. And okay, agency, Chinese agency, regional center, we got the same problem. I mean, where can we get our clients? So even the hard to the regional center, same as hard to the agency. To any Chinese agency now needs time to reform, because just like the EB5 going to reform, is the same as Chinese agency. Because you know a lot of agency like only doing overseas education business, they are focusing on the EB5 right now. They got a lot of potential clients in their hands because a lot of students and parents applied to high school, so they are very potential EB5 clients. And also, we know that Chinese people can get 10 years visa from China to come to USA. So there are lots of Chinese people come over here every year. They can speak English. They can hear someone can speak English. They can find the project by their own. So this is also tough time to Chinese agency. So marketing in China, we have to use the new strategies, not only the old way, not seminar. Seminar is not solve the problem. Even you spend $100,000 in China for the more than 300 people, but it's not a big deal in China because we got people. So marketing is really going to be the new thing in China, even to regional center, also as well as Chinese agency.
Thank you.
I think our panel was supposed to be China and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Let me talk about rest of the world. Given the fact that we have such a backlog of cases waiting for adjudication at USCIS right now from China, unless the visa number issue gets resolved, either through agency action or congressional action. You're not these investors may not be able to get their money back within 5 years. Absolutely no way now. So if they're looking for that, your marketing strategy for China is gone. So you need to actually take a look at the market, investor market outside of China, especially for new projects and new regional centers that do not have the know-how in China. Instead of trying to get into Chinese market, look elsewhere. You're going to have, there are upticks on number of investors from India, Vietnam, Singapore, and United Arab, especially quite a bit. Dubai, we have a lot of clients from Dubai coming in now. South Africa is another one that has been coming up quite rapidly. So take a look at market outside of China, because the investors will be able to come into the country faster,
Yes.
and you will be able to get your money faster.
Thank you, Jinhee. So Kamya, I know EB5 magazine is English and Chinese version are very popular. Do you have any other suggestions?
Yeah, I think as long as everybody acknowledges that this form of capital is a lower cost form of capital compared with maybe market rates for mezzanine debt, but it's not an easy form of capital. So for new regional centers and new developers getting into the EB5 space, be prepared to invest significantly up front, whether that's the aforementioned dinners and the trips to China or the conferences and everything, the learning seminars to make sure that you've underwritten your deal properly and accounted for the lack of visa availability and how that may affect your project's timeline. It's important to make sure that you work with the right team, you bear in mind new compliance, stay up to date. The program is changing. The regional center program is tentatively set to sunset at the end of September. We don't anticipate that's going to be the case, but I mean, it's a possibility. So certainly our publication, as well as others, organizations such as IUSA, the EB5 Coalition, and others are keeping people up to date. So stay involved. I'm going to shamelessly plug our event next month in New York, July 18th. So please join us there at the Sheraton Times Square. And look forward to working with you all.
Thank you. So I think we almost run out of time, but before we finish, Chairman He would like to share his thoughts on the currency restriction and how to solve it. So 何会长，您就是说咱们最后这一个呢，就是您刚刚讲说您想提一下中国现在外汇管制怎么解决的问题，咱们就你看1分钟的样子讲一下这个，对，然后咱们就结束。
好，大家都说中国外汇管制严了，其实这是一种表面的现象。
People always say that currency restriction in China is very hard, but that's only a surface. That's only very natural thing in China.
Yeah, that's not true. Yeah. 您讲。
其实中国政府提出“一带一路”，如果说外汇管制严了，那怎么样去推“一带一路”呢？对不对
？So China government encouraged that one-to-one.
Like the U.S. company go outside and make investment in the United States. So if you have a restricted currency, if you have a currency restriction, like tight currency restriction, then it makes it impossible for them to go outside of China.
因为要推“一带一路”，很多企业它的外汇管理必定是越来越宽，不可能是严。
Because one bank, one road is very open for every single Chinese people. So their currency prohibition should be easier and easier, not harder and harder.
只要你的企业纳税能够依法依规的纳税，第一；第二，你的投资的项目、投资的理由是充分的，中国是不会卡你的。
If your company can pay your tax on time, and the reason that you want to immigrate is reasonable, then China government won't restrict your immigration.
我们广东华人虽然做 EB5 的项目不是做的很多，但是我们没有一例因为外汇管制而钱出不去。
Although our Guangdong Huarun Immigration Services Center, a company, doesn't do a lot of EB5 cases, but we do not have even one case because of currency restriction that got be restricted or be cancelled.
关键就是说，看你的个人所得税、企业所得税有没有按依法依规来缴纳。
The only thing is your personal tax payment and your company tax payment is paid on time and is paid under the policy.
如果你在避税或者说偷税漏税方面这样做的话，当然你的资金要出去，那肯定要受到管制。
if you didn't pay the tax or you didn't pay the tax under the policy, then that's why the reason you have your currency has been restricted.
我相信美国政府也不希望这些偷税漏税的人移民到美国来。
And I think the U.S. government won't want the people who didn't pay their tax and who didn't pay their tax on the, under the policy to come to the U.S.
Thank you, Chairman He.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have run out of time. Thank you for attending the panel. Thank you, our amazing panelists. We appreciate all your time and effort.